Supporting the financial empowerment and well-being of women has long been a tenet at UBS. Over the past few years, we've been sharing these thoughts and ideas with women all over the world. And today, we look at new Own Your Worth research, focusing on the various challenges that women breadwinners face embracing their own financial cloud. Sound compelling? Well then, stick around for the next 10 minutes of UBS Trending. Hi everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Amantia Muhedini, and I'm here today with my colleague Carrie Schaffman, head of the Women's Client segment here at UBS. Carrie and her team's main focus is on the development and implementation of UBS's firm strategy to help women navigate their financial lives, and that is done through extensive research, through events, through programming, all to focus on helping women really achieve greater financial well-being and independence. So Carrie, welcome. And speaking of research and what your team provides, Carrie, you and your team just launched a brand new Own Your Worth report. Tell us more about the background of the report and what you're trying to achieve with it.
Well, thanks so much, Amantia, for having me on UBS Trending. It's great to be back to talk about our latest Own Your Worth report, which is the 6th Own Your Worth report in 6 years that we've published, and really a continuation of the evolution of our commitment to try to understand the unique financial needs that women have throughout the course of their lifetimes. And so for this latest report, we actually wanted to specifically look at women breadwinners. And we did that for a number of reasons. The first is that women continue to make great strides in education, labor force participation, career advancement, and they're contributing more to their households' incomes than ever before. And so for this latest report, we thought it would be interesting to specifically focus on women who are the primary earners in their households to see if this increasing financial clout is translating to increased engagement in major financial decisions around the earnings and the money that these women primary earners are making. So that was really, I would say, how we started out. And then we wanted to understand, are there certain challenges or roadblocks that impact women breadwinners' path to financial participation? And sure enough, in sort of the opening efforts of our research, we found that women primary earners are significantly less engaged in both the short and long-term financial decisions about where their earnings go as compared to men primary earners. So that really, of course, then begged the question, why, right? And what are the challenges that women breadwinners maybe face that are contributing to that lower level of financial engagement? And so that's really what we sought to find out with this latest research.
Very interesting questions. I mean, as far as anecdotes, look at us here. We're both two professionals in the financial services industry, and it's interesting because what the research has done is really 6 years of this research. It allows you to look at this longitudinally, which I find so interesting. I also find so interesting the focus on female breadwinners. You're not just looking at women in the workforce, women as joint partners. You're thinking about those women in the subset of families where they're the kind of primary earner in the family. So I can only imagine it's its own kind of ball game in terms of challenges. So tell us a little bit more about what these challenges are.
Sure, and Amantia, I think you make such a great point, which is that over the last 6 years, we've had the ability to evolve the research to address the evolving needs and considerations impacting women financially across the country. So from when we first started out to 2018, then looking at the impact of the pandemic on women, and now pivoting again with this mindset that women are a population, not a segment, specifically homing in on the demographic of women who are indeed the primary earners in their household for this latest report. And as the report aptly states in its title, Tradition, Trust, and Time, I would say that the 3 key challenges that we uncovered that impact women's participation in their long-term finances comes down to those 3 key challenges. So the first, tradition. Interestingly enough, we found that many women breadwinners have mixed feelings about being in that primary earner position. So less than half of women breadwinners said that they actually prefer being the breadwinner, compared to almost 90%, 87% of men breadwinners who prefer being in that position. And then if you take it a step further, many women breadwinners told us that within their social circles, their friends, their family often assume that their husbands, their male partners, are the primary earners and often never correct that assumption.
Fascinating. And not to interrupt, but I mean, maybe that has something to do with that level of discomfort, right? Of
Yes.
being that kind of key person.
Exactly. And I think that then provides a great segue into the second challenge that we uncovered, because I think they're all very much interrelated. But the second challenge that we uncovered was around this issue of trust. So many women breadwinners contend with insecurities from their non-primary earning partners around financial engagement. So many non-primary earning men told us that they wish they could contribute more, and that they even wish that they could take on that primary earner role. And then when it came to money, so spending and investing habits and decisions, women breadwinners contended with the highest levels of distrust around those decisions from their non-primary earning partners. So again, some tension, some difficulty there in terms of the dynamics within couples when she is the primary earner that our research uncovered. And then lastly, the third biggest challenge we found was time. And I think that this is, we all wish we had more of the luxury of time, right? And perhaps unsurprisingly, and there was so much research on this during the pandemic as well, around the disproportionate burden that women took on in terms of household and childcare responsibilities. We again saw that among women primary earners. So women primary earners tended to take on more of those household and childcare responsibilities, leaving them ultimately with less time for financial matters.
That's fascinating. I mean, the rest of it doesn't go away when women are kind of being the main earners. So you said when she makes the decisions. What about when there are two she's in a relationship? In this report, you studied same-sex couples, which is interesting, is different, I believe, in the Own Your Worth research. Tell us a little bit more about the challenges of women in same-sex relationships and kind of what you're finding there.
Absolutely. So again, going back to my earlier comments, it was critically important to us that we're looking at a wide inclusive population of women. And so we wanted to understand also what are the challenges that women in same-sex couples, women breadwinners, might face on their path to greater financial participation, and were they different or similar to the challenges that women breadwinners and heterosexual couples faced. And actually what we found is that many of the challenges were less pronounced within the context of this report among women in same-sex couples, women breadwinners. So for example, women breadwinners in same-sex couples said that they felt much more comfortable being the breadwinner, coming back to that comfort level, than women breadwinners in heterosexual couples. And women in same-sex couples who were the primary earners also felt more confident in investing and felt that it was more natural for them to take the lead on the financial decisions given their primary earner status as compared to women breadwinners in heterosexual couples. Perhaps one other really interesting piece that I think really presents a tremendous opportunity for us as an industry is that many women breadwinners in same-sex couples felt that the financial services industry has historically catered to heterosexual couples. So certainly room for improvement and an opportunity for us there.
Yeah, and I do kind of emphasize these last two words that you said, right? I mean, all of this research is pointing to both progress generally with more women being in the seats, more financial empowerment, but so much need for further change societally, culturally. Things are slow to change, but we are at a financial services institution. So what are some of those takeaways? How do we make this research actionable?
Absolutely, and that's always the goal with our research, right? Is, it's one thing to uncover these really fascinating and interesting insights, and then it's another to say, well, what do we do with this, right? And how can we actually use this to move the needle toward progress and to affect change and to bring more women to the financial table, which is ultimately our goal. And so I think part of it certainly comes down to the opportunity for us as an industry and for UBS to pave the way and sort of collectively raising the bar in terms of how we meet the evolving needs of women who are primary earners. Part of that comes down to actually understanding what women primary earners' most important financial needs are, which we tried to uncover with this research. And we heard directly from these hundreds of women that we surveyed in that primary earner role that their top financial priorities included things like retirement planning, budgeting, maintaining an emergency fund, and long-term care insurance. So that was very clear. So certainly financial professionals can think about some of those key needs and how to meet those needs. And then I would say it really comes down to four key opportunities, I would call them. The first is really seeking to understand the family income dynamics within a couple and facilitating conversations that engage both partners equally. The second would be, of course, setting assumptions aside, unconscious or subconscious biases, and really listening to the unique financial needs of women breadwinners in those financial guidance conversations. The third, and this comes back to that time challenge, would be seeking for ways to automate and reduce the time burden of financial engagement for women breadwinners who understandably have so many other demands on their time. And then lastly, I would say approaching financial engagement through the lens of a comprehensive goals-based financial planning approach is another key piece that I would say. And I think, we really, I would say, believe that by pointing out some of these challenges, pointing out some of these existing considerations that are impacting women breadwinners, that actually calling them out is the first step to actually then taking the steps to correct that imbalance and be a part of the solution.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they say transparency is the best disinfectant. And in some ways, these 4 steps that you're mentioning, this is what a lot of our financial advisors are already using to engage with their female clients.
Exactly.
But even any kind of members of the audience, right, men or women in the audience, can look at this report to understand how they support each other, how to support their partners, and what to ask of their financial advisors. So really exciting to see the research. Congratulations on the report. And for the latest Own Your Worth research and to hear more about what UBS is doing for women and their financial independence, visit ubs.com/women. Of course, make sure to follow UBS on social media, particularly our new Instagram channel called UBS Trending. Lots of great information for you there, including never-before-seen footage from our studio. It's very fun. And as always, if you have any questions about your portfolio, please speak with a financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Amantia Muhedini. Have a great rest of the day, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending.